Welcome into another edition of Friday Night Review. I am Scalz, and tonight we are joined by one of the original hosts, Sir Jamey Rose. And then we have none other than the mastermind behind Bosh Spots and Chair Shots, Rivet City Radio, the Will Gray. How's everybody doing tonight?
Dudes, I'm doing fantastic. This was a great edition of Smackdown. I'm just having a great week, and to kick off a great 3 days of wrestling. This is exciting stuff. Or is it 2 days? Anyways,
3 days.
All
Tonight's
up.
3.
3 days. Yeah,
4 technically if you want to count Monday.
Monday.
Tuesday's NXT, so it could be 5 consecutive days of WWE type products.
You get wrestling.
What's going on now? Welcome in.
I'm just really glad to be here, honestly. Like, it's just a good night. I'm glad to be here to chat about wrestling. We didn't do Botch Spots last weekend because of the pay-per-view. We're running early this weekend because of the pay-per-view. So, like, it's a double-edged sword. I love the fact that we have a ton of content to chew on, but it's like, I really don't want to have to run against WWE or AEW every weekend, guys. Like, come on. Like, I get it.
So you have this weekend, you had last weekend. When's the next one for you?
When's
the next one you're gonna have to go up against?
SummerSlam is on a Saturday. When's the next AEW pay-per-view? They're the only ones. Them and NXT are the ones that are running Sundays right now.
And probably All In.
Yeah, I would say probably All In.
But
and it's funny, like, I don't get it. People would rather watch WWE than Botch Spots and Chair Shots. I still haven't figured out that algorithm. Billions of people go over there. I just can't get them to come back. So I see it. I won't run against WWE. I learned the hard way. We were just talking about the politics in wrestling, Jamey. There you go. Like,
yeah, but I mean, yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you think the situation with the bloodline? This was a very, up until the very last couple seconds of the episode, very bloodline, like, minimal. It's usually bloodline centric. So whatever the opposite of being bloodline centric would be. Like, there was almost nothing on the bloodline for the first time in years, it feels like, on SmackDown, all up until the very end of it. And I think that says something as well about the direction of the programming, as because they're ready to go. Okay, we've got enough going on that this doesn't have to be our front and center, like, focal point anymore. The bloodline can have a vignette and that be all you need to continue and further that story. Because it felt like for so many Fridays now, for the last 4 or 5 years almost, I guess 4 years, that it felt like Roman was front and center or the bloodline was front and center. And now for the first time, it feels like we get that to breathe. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to have them to feel like it's good wrestling anymore.
Yes, sir.
See, I feel with the way the first segment that we had with Cody, KO, and Randy, I felt like we were going to get the bloodline there attacking them, but they held off on doing it. Like, I felt like they wanted to build suspense as opposed to having something happen there. And the way they used the vignette at the end of the show to not only further the match tomorrow night, but as well as what's going to happen in the future was just chef's kiss.
I feel like I'm going to jump in ahead of you real quick on this one, Jamey, and you'll appreciate what I'm going to say. So you'll be like, man, I'm glad you did. Yeah. Triple H is known for being an old school aficionado. Like he said in interviews, a lot of time he still goes back and watches old territory wrestling and stuff because that's what he loves in the business. And when you watch the way Triple H has been booking a lot of his shows now, he books his shows the way territory. And the irony is, he's just said in an interview he doesn't book wrestling shows. He writes TV shows about pro wrestlers or movies about pro wrestlers. But if you look at the way SmackDown tonight was put together, it was put together suspiciously fucking close to a pro wrestling show, because the first segment opened with KO and Cody and everything with the bloodline story. And then we didn't get the culmination of that until the last 60 seconds with that vignette. After the pop, after the tag title change, the whole ambiance of the episode changes because it was the bookend And to me, I say this a lot, Memphis gets over everywhere. This felt like an old wrestling show. We started with something and we finished with something that was connected to the same. And everything that happened in between was the catalyst to get there. The same way you build a wrestling match, you have to have your ebbs and flows. Your wrestling show has to have those same ebbs and flows. Triple H did a good job of that tonight, connecting all the pieces and making a good functional pro wrestling show.
I was gonna say it was very CWA.
Yeah.
Very CWA. Even from the interferences in the matches.
The backstage vignettes of DIY talking and going into the match, you know,
that walking promo. Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of this is old school pre-taped vignettes to build a story inside of the show itself. And Triple H is bringing a lot of that back. And I appreciate that as an old school, you know, territory wrestling fan at heart. I appreciate him coming back with a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that was missing from it was working for the weekend by Loverboy during one of the vignettes, and it would have been totally a ripoff of some CWA. But
and I'm okay with it. If history's going to repeat itself, it may as well be some of the best wrestling that happens. You know what I mean?
Give us some Memphis. Give us some Mid-South. Give us 86 Crockett.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. AWA, you know, and that push through there when you come through with Kurt Hennig. You know what I mean? When he was the AWA champ. Like, look at what they were booking then. I've always said if Tony Khan laid back and just watched Jim Crockett Promotions from 84 to 87, that 3-year stretch, like, you would see some of the best storytelling in pro wrestling.
Which I know this is off base, but for AEW, like, they have good stories. They just they
have stories.
They have stories, but they do too much, and they convolute it in a way where no one understands. If they kind of did the simplifying it and dumbing it down for people, and kind of, you know, instead of trying to throw it in the microwave, about maybe put it in the oven, then it might marinate, and you know you could have something worth building. But Tony doesn't do that. He likes to, you know, blow his load all at the same time. So
they can have stories, but they're more about the storytelling in the match itself.
Correct.
They're not about the storytelling outside of the matches, and that's one of the big things that they're missing.
I mean, they're not making motion pictures, baby.
And I'm going to go back to this because this is the big thing right now. The Elite. 2 weeks in, you have them have a match versus Team AEW. Like, what are we doing? And you don't start off with a small match. You don't start off with a small tag team. You go right to Anarchy in the Arena. Like, what else are you going to have next? Now you're going to Blood and Guts?
Yeah.
What are you going to end up with, a normal tag team match?
No, you'd have football field fuckery.
They built up it backwards. Like, they never should have had that match to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
What is the fucking Anarchy in the Arena? What was the fucking football stadium?
I don't know what it's called.
Stadium Stampede.
Yeah,
what
I know
in the fucking hell? What if they do Stadium Stampede at Wembley, you guys?
Don't give them ideas.
That's a week after Blood and Guts.
Don't give them ideas, Will.
Is it that late?
Yes. Blood and Guts is the 25th.
Okay. Never mind. That'll be the blow off.
Oh, no.
Then.
Sorry. That's July. Blood and Guts is this month coming up, I think.
Yeah. And then, that's right. So, see, it's another month. They've got 4 weeks of TV to build to it.
Yeah, but they only used 2 to build.
They used the last 10 days. But I'm just saying, like, that's the thing. Like, WWE uses storytelling in both aspects, in the ring as well as outside the ring. And that's what gets people to watch and gets people to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how you hook the people in. Like, this vignette at the end of the night, I want to see what happens next with Solo Sikoa.
Yeah.
This was probably his best vignette on the main roster.
Oh, his promo was good on that vignette.
now I'm hyped to see what comes next.
It's like, oh wow, he could speak.
But like, I don't know. Tonight just seemed to have a great flow throughout the night. You had the chaos where it needed to be between the both Money in the Bank competitors. You had great wrestling matches, aka the main event.
Mm-hmm.
You had a surprise title change, which we all figured was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Just because of how the story made sense based off of them winning the titles here 8 years ago when they beat FTR on an NXT pay-per-view. So it makes sense.
And you also had Cody on the show, and he didn't do too much.
No, that was all about KO.
Yeah, I mean, as it should have been.
It was a good go-home show that played the hits.
Mm-hmm.
And the surprise title chain was a good way to do it.
Yes.
Put your tag titles in the main event, have them switch hands. Everything that else pushed the stories to tomorrow without having to. We saw the women's title on the line, or not. We saw the women's title like represented in a match with Bayley. Sorry, not on the line, but like we saw that match. We saw a lot of shenanigans there with Chelsea.
All those women were represented.
Yeah, they did a good job of showing everybody in Toronto, and they did a good job of building to tomorrow. Everything that happened tonight happened for a reason.
Yes. I hate Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
All right, so
because I'm not.
Let's head on out for evening tonight. Jamey, where can we find you?
So you can find me on my shenanigans at Jamey Rose PW on Twitter. Jamey Rose PW also on Instagram. I forgot I changed that. You could find me doing some talking here and there on Diamond State Wrestling. And you could find me. I guess the cat's been out of the bag. I think Shadow said something last week about it. So Ringside Chatter is coming back to a full cast in August. We're not going to blow the entire operation yet. So you got Scalz, you got me, and you got Shadow, and got some more exciting stuff coming up. But that's going to be in August, and I'm super pumped about that. And I'm ready. I'm excited. I miss being on the network, and this is going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Will?
First and foremost, I want to say thank you as always for allowing me to come on FNR and hang out with you guys. I am the Will Gray. I'm a host of Botch Spots and Share Shots. I'm a chef by trade and a mark by choice. If you want to find everything I do, look for me anywhere you do anything on the internet at the Will Gray, at Botch Spots and Share Shots, at Rivet City Radio. You'll find me. You'll find us. Once you find my link tree, you'll find everything I do for Botch Spots and Share Shots, Rivet City Radio, Off the Top Media, and my writing profile for Last Word on Sports.
I am Scalz. I am the host of Friday Night Review. I also host NXT on Tap on Tuesdays right here on Off the Top. You can find me here on Off the Top Media for both YouTube and Twitch. Make sure you guys go check out the YouTube channel. Give us some watch hours. We are trying to get towards the monetization on over there. So anything would help us and continue us on that path. You can also find us on Off the Top Media _ on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. I want to thank everybody for coming out. We'll catch y'all soon. Maybe we'll do a little review of either Heat Wave or Money in the Bank. So stay tuned to the socials for any updates on future programming. Have a great evening.
Troubled times caught between confusion and pain.
Have a great night.
Pain.
Down to the